What happens now?
Your umbilical. It's gonna snap. You'll get pulled off the structure. Now I will come back for you. But you have to do something for me, okay? You have to get yourself back to the top of the manifold. I can't rescue you if I can't find you. Understand?
What's up, everyone? Welcome to a special edition of The Break Room. In this episode, I'm gonna be interviewing the star of the new film, Last Breath. He's our friend, Simu. Last Breath is based on a true story of deep-sea saturation divers and their attempt to rescue one of their crewmates trapped at the bottom of the ocean. Let's talk to Simu right now.
How's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. It's good to see you.
Is that helmet next to you, is that real, or is that just part of the graphic?
No, this is real.
Nice.
This is real. I'm moving the valves right now. This is an actual helmet that, well, first of all, it's the helmet that we used in the movie, but it's also a real helmet that sat divers would use when they're on the job, which is really incredible. It's a lot heavier than it looks.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's giving me kind of a little bit of PTSD just looking at it. So.
Congrats on the movie. I got a chance to watch it. I just want to say, like, what an amazing thrill ride it was. I don't even really know where to start, but I mean, movies that are based on real life like this one is just goes to show how crazy real life can be sometimes. Yeah, you spent some time with the actual people that the movie was based on. I just wanted to hear some more about that. Like, how was Dave in real life, and what parts of him did you take to the role to bring that to life?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a luxury whenever you're making a movie and you're making a movie about real life events when the actual subjects are still alive and willing to kind of lend their expertise and their insight. So Dave did visit us over the course of filming. Actually, all three of the divers that, myself, Woody, and Finn played came by, and so we got to meet them and interview them, and I'm sure we talked their ear off and we asked, way too many questions, but it's such an amazing story. And so, of course, for us, it was such a wonderful resource to be able to talk to the people that were actually involved. And Dave, I mean, when you meet him in the beginning of the film, he seems like a very kind of cold and emotionless and unfriendly person. You can very quickly kind of interpret that as kind of antagonistic and not nice, but what it really comes down to is Dave is a consummate professional, and I think that's the what I wanted to kind of evoke in the character and in my portrayal of Dave, is that he's just kind of a very unsentimental man, and he's very mission focused. He's very job focused, and doesn't really suffer any fools, and says what he feels and doesn't really feel the need to placate to anybody or to people please in any way. And I really actually admired that about him. I found him very, very compelling and very magnetic in real life. And if I'm even able to kind of capture like 2% of that, I think I would have done a great job because he's truly kind of a one of one
Right, yeah.
guy.
I saw I happened to see the documentary last night, so just
Yeah,
seeing
so you know how he, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
very much
I'm
how he.
curious, like, have you been able to reconnect with him after filming and him seeing like the results of the film?
Yeah, it's so funny. We were just our producer Paul Brooks was circulating an email where he had collected all the feedback from the three divers. And of course, Chris had these like wonderful, it was like a paragraph, these wonderful words of like, "Oh, this is amazing. It was so lovely to see you guys bring this to life." And Duncan was like, "Wow, there's so much heart in this." And I got emotional watching it and all that. And then Dave was what it was I liked it.
I love it. I love it.
And I think that's the most Dave answer that you could possibly get, but it's also, in its way, the highest form of praise. I'm like, that's how
Yeah.
I knew that I did a good job.
Yeah, so like part of working with the real people involved, even, a movie like this, so intense and so action-packed, and also just so much science behind what goes into telling the story in a way that audiences can understand. You spent a
Sure.
lot of time with actual sat divers and in that space. I'm curious, like, what parts of your own life did you take to that experience, or was it something completely foreign to you?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say completely foreign. I think there's a lot of similarities between kind of just the collaborative nature of being on set and, just the absolute like village it takes in order two divers to be able to even stay alive, that far below sea level. If you see the ships that these divers go out on, the amount of crew and staff that it takes to be able to support these guys to be able to go down and do the work that they do, it's not entirely dissimilar from set, where, in order to get an end product of what is sometimes just a couple of people in a frame, you have dozens of people working in lighting and camera and sound and everybody, all these different departments working in concert to be able to support that. I feel like it's very similar. And then there's the underwater of it, which is a whole, that part of it is probably the more foreign thing. The more I learned, the more I, just was amazed by just the reality of it, and also in how closely we were able to adhere to what actually happened, and that is the value of having a director like Alex Parkinson, who also directed the documentary that you watched, who really just has such a comprehensive knowledge of everything, that it's such a privilege and a joy to be able to, for example, go down and work with the actual equipment, and, not only with the helmet, but our umbilical systems were wired by the same people that wired sat divers. And so effectively we were down there doing it for real, and in a world and in an industry where it's become increasingly easy to take shortcuts and to fake, you hear day for night, wet for dry, AI, VFX. There's all these different tools that are available to filmmakers now to not make the actors have to actually do anything. It was just an incredibly gratifying experience to just go down and do and learn exactly what the sat divers actually did. And yeah, that's what we did.
Man, that's crazy. How far in that training process do you think you got compared to what an actual sat diver were to do to be prepared for a job like that?
You know what? I would say surrounding the actual underwater elements, and I think I speak for Finn too, we're both pretty much there. And I know working at that depth would be very different than working at the depth that we worked at, which was obviously much less. But at the same time, based on everything that we were hearing from the sat divers and all the feedback that we were getting, that's pretty much what it was. Where I think it would actually be very difficult for us to adjust would be the rest of it, right? Because when sat divers go into the chambers, I mean, they're stuck in there in that pressurized environment for 28 days at a time, where the chamber is so small and it's so narrow that they're oftentimes, they're sleeping on top of each other and having to go to the bathroom like 2 feet away from where their head is, when they're sleeping, and eating like another 3 feet away from that. So everything's kind of on top of each other, and existing in that environment, not having any access to the outside world or any ability to leave. I feel like I think it takes a very specific type of person to do it. I don't know that I have it in me.
And then last question for you. What part of the whole experience, learning how to do this job, do you take back into your personal life?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the diving and rediscovering kind of my joy for water. I grew up, I'm Canadian. I grew up in going to my friends' cottages in the summertime and just really loving the water. And not that it ever really stopped, but I always had a kind of a fondness for being underwater and being around water and swimming. And scuba diving was always one of those things where I was like, oh man, if I just had enough time to go on vacation, I'd love to get my license. And this was just the perfect opportunity to get to learn it, and also to get to learn from the best in the world who do it. And so those are skills that I can now take with me for the rest of my life. And no matter where I go, I can find great dives. And we have our advanced open water, but I see myself definitely taking it further and pursuing like a rescue diving certification or like a dive master, or something like that.
Well, that's awesome. I'll stick to snorkeling on my side, but thank you so much for your time.
No, man, you got to get down there.
I think that's it for us, but good chatting. Hope to see you soon.
Dude, it's good to see you, man.
All right, take care. Thank you, Simu and Focus Features, for chatting with us about this movie. Last Breath is out right now in theaters, so be sure to go watch.